Burn brightly and may it never go out. The Afipsky oil refinery in the Kuban region is on fire once again. The refinery caught fire immediately after a drone attack. This is one of the largest oil refining enterprises in the south of Russia. It is located 18 kilometers from Krasnodar. Its capacity is over 6 million tons of oil per year, which is more than 2% of the total oil refining volume of the gas station country. The affected enterprise produces gasoline, diesel, and aviation fuel. This plant is an important logistics hub for supplying fuel to the occupying Russian forces in the southern direction. The Afipskaya railway station also stopped its operations tonight. Well, residents of the Kuban region are advising the Ukrainian defense forces on social media where to launch drones next.
The refinery is done for. It won't be there anymore. Well, at the very least, the refinery definitely won't be operational anytime soon. And does that mean it will be quiet for us? Not necessarily. We also have ozone nearby.
And the Amur gas chemical complex in Russia is also on fire. The plant produces ethylene and propylene. The facility's design capacity is nearly 3 million tons per year. According to media reports, it was in the final stages before launch. After a visit from some good drones, the production launch is being postponed. In the morning, in the center of Kherson, the Russians directed a drone at a passerby. The man was hospitalized with shrapnel wounds and a severe concussion. In the evening, bombs were dropped on the city from aircraft. 4 elderly people were hospitalized. In total, over the past day, there have been 2 deaths and 23 injuries from enemy shelling in the region, including a child. The invaders struck Sloviansk in the Donetsk region using aircraft. There are 8 casualties there, including a 16-year-old girl and boy. 4 people were wounded in Druzhkivka from artillery and drone strikes. There are also casualties in Bilenka and Kramatorsk. In Konotop, Sumy region, a Russian drone crashed into a house. A 14-year-old girl is suffering from an acute stress reaction. In the Seredina Buda community, 3 elderly women were injured as a result of drone attacks and mortar shelling. There is also a casualty in the Sumy community. 2 people died in Zaporizhzhia. At dawn, the Russians attacked the regional center with aircraft, and at night they struck the city with Shahed drones. A high-rise building and a service station were damaged, and a car dealership was destroyed. 3 people needed medical assistance in the Nikopol district of the Dnipropetrovsk region. A gymnasium, a kindergarten, private houses, a dormitory, and cars were damaged. The invaders also struck a large shopping mall at the exit from Dnipro. The building was shattered, and trucks nearby were on fire. Assistance with air defense and preparations for winter. A summit of the Coalition of the Willing took place in Kyiv. It was the first one for the new British Prime Minister Andy Burnham, who arrived in Ukraine on Independence Day. In his opening remarks, he called on participants to accelerate the supply of interceptor missiles before winter. As the President of Ukraine clarified, at least 300 of them are needed. In addition, Burnham stated that London has approved Ukraine's request for the production of long-range Storm Shadow missiles. Now, the French, British, and Ukrainian industries will work together on the production of these weapons. In addition to Burnham, the Prime Minister of Luxembourg, the President of Moldova, the Swedish Foreign Minister, and the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, arrived at the Coalition of the Willing summit. President Macron, who is also a co-chair of the coalition format, joined online. He called on partners to accelerate work on the European anti-ballistic program Freya. Back in July, 10 national leaders agreed to work on its launch. Now, defense companies are already handling the implementation of the project. In addition to protecting the skies, they also discussed closing the Ministry of Defense's €27 billion financial deficit. However, there are no quick solutions here either for now. President Costa only promised to consider this issue, but he arrived in Kyiv with the news that the EU has allocated €6.1 billion. This is the next tranche from the €90 billion loan. Prime Minister Serhiy Kuretsky reported to the partners in detail about the situation in the economy.
The European Commission has announced that they have approved the allocation of a new tranche to support Ukraine. This is a long process. Of course, we have noted Ukraine's financial needs. Undoubtedly, we can talk about and explore them together with the member states and the European Commission regarding what exactly we can do. But first of all, we must fulfill what we have already committed to, in particular regarding the allocation of €90 billion for Ukraine. This is not a small amount, it is a large amount. €90 billion in support is what we are doing and will continue to do.
He is preparing to embark on a high-stakes diplomatic mission, where his primary objective will be to persuade Donald Trump to provide critical military support to Ukraine, specifically focusing on the urgent need for advanced Patriot missile defense systems. This effort is driven by the escalating security challenges on the ground, and he intends to present a compelling case regarding how these sophisticated defensive capabilities are absolutely essential for protecting Ukrainian infrastructure and civilian lives against ongoing aerial threats, hoping to secure a commitment that could fundamentally alter the strategic balance of the conflict. The British Prime Minister shared his plans for September after his visit to Kyiv. Next month, Andy Burnham told Bloomberg he will attend the UN General Assembly meeting. Many world leaders will gather in the West. Those of them participating in the coalition of the willing are discussing the possibility of holding a meeting within the framework of the UN General Assembly session to secure the supply of American interceptor missiles and stockpiles from other countries. Andy Burnham stated he is convinced that the problem with the shortage of interceptor missiles for Patriot systems can be solved not only through US aid but also thanks to other countries that possess such missiles. The British Prime Minister firmly believes that they can be persuaded to provide assistance to Ukraine through a series of lengthy and complex negotiations. This represents a new and concerning type of Russian-style raiding. Putin has authorized the transfer of enterprises that were poorly defended against Ukrainian attacks to state control. There was no particular publicity surrounding the decree signed by the Russian dictator until the document was officially published. It allows the Russian state to take temporary control of Russian infrastructure enterprises whose owners failed to protect them from Ukrainian drone attacks or did not repair the damage in time. This concerns oil refineries, energy facilities, roads, airports, and logistics infrastructure. Experts see the new decree as a mechanism for the redistribution of property. The document can indeed be used as a pretext for raiding, since it should be the aggressor country's air defense that protects Russian facilities from Ukrainian attacks. And in your opinion, will this so-called nationalization in Russia protect against attacks by Ukrainian drones? Be sure to write it in the comments to this broadcast on YouTube. Also, of course, like and subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, I am continuing the TSN online broadcast. The Russian army launched ballistic missiles, a guided aerial missile, and 150 attack drones at Ukraine last night. Shaheds, including jet-powered ones, Gerberas, and decoy drones used to distract our air defense, flew from Orel, Primorsko-Akhtarsk, as well as from the temporarily occupied Donetsk and Crimea. The defense forces shot down 124 enemy drones in the south, north, and east of the country. Hits were recorded at 17 locations, and debris from downed drones fell at 7 others. In Kyiv, a 16-story residential building was hit due to the Russian attack. This happened in the Afipsky district of the capital. As a result of the enemy shelling on the night of August 25th, one of the apartments on the 14th floor was damaged. There is damage to the walls and broken windows. No fire was reported at the scene, according to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. There were also no casualties.